Welcome, welcome. It's your boy Mike, and this is my Raptors edition podcast. I just did one I talked about the NBA. I did not think I was going to talk as much as I did, but when you're just passionate about something, you got to talk about it. Now, in saying all that, I'm focused a lot on what we got to talk about here, which is the Toronto Raptors. This is the halfway point. The Raptors are 28-31. Not sure if any of you guys expected that to happen. I'm pretty confident you guys didn't want that to happen. It happened. I'm sorry to tell you, it happened. Raptor fans, it's not where we wanted to be. We thought this team was like a 50 game winner, but it wasn't the case. Wasn't the case. It just wasn't the case. The team is not that great, or wasn't that great. The season has had a lot of ups and downs. I think a lot of the issues many of us have seen is that there was just a lack of like team camaraderie, a lack of helping each other out, a lot of ISO ball, and it's just like this team is kind of very ISO heavy in my estimation. But with it, it's more like I'm doing my thing because I have a contract coming, or I'm doing my thing because I want to be a first-time all-star, or I have a contract because I believe I should be second to Pascal, or I am an All-NBA player and I'm all-star and I should have the number one option, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of think it was like both that was happening at the same time for the Raptors. Their defense... Oh, I guess we can say trash. Yeah, defense was trash. Like, we don't have to... Do we have to sugarcoat that? No, we can say defense was trash, because it was trash. Defense wasn't good. We expected a lot more from this team. What can we do? What can we do? We wanted... I would say some of us really wanted this team to make some changes. We wanted some draft picks. Looking at him now, I really want to trade Murphy the third. Would have been really happy with him. I really would have. I would have liked it, but it doesn't happen that way. Not everything you want's gonna happen. So, but that's what I would have liked. Would have been nice to have him. He would have been a nice 3-point shooter, a nice young guy. But I get it. The Pelicans are like, okay, we want OG, we do, and we'll give you our draft picks, but we're not gonna give you Trey Murphy and Dyson Daniels, because the Raptors wanted both. Dyson Daniels, there was like I think a Ringer report. I think he was a part of the names, and he would have been like 23 in 5 years, but I don't think that math works out. I don't think he's not 18 now. He could be that young, but I don't know. He's a young guy, and whatever he would have been, even if it was 24, that would be amazing, because Scotty, I think in 5 years would be like 25, and that's like the future, right? That's what you want to see, because that's what you're like, okay, this is what the team's next 5 to 10 years is going to look like. It's about building through Scotty, which I still think that's their plan, and building a good team around him. I think that's what they're planning. The problem with a lot of Raptor fans are feeling now, a lot of people, when there was no trade or nothing happened, was you didn't know the direction this team was on. And that was frustrating. Still frustrating now, because I would say a lot of us still don't know what direction they're on. A lot of us don't like the direction that it seems like they're on, because it's kind of like, hey, we're not good enough. Why can't we just not be good enough? Which is going to lead me to what I have to say about the Raptors, because I think I was a part of... Now I think I'm on the camp of like, I wouldn't have minded getting a top 10 pick, but I'll get there. But yeah, a lot of people didn't like it because there's no direction. And I think I made a video the other day, and like I make videos and I forget what I post sometimes, but like we don't have a direction. Like, there's no direction. Where do we go? There's just no direction. Masai and Bobby clearly have a direction. And while saying there's no direction, I also made a video, which, this is what happens with all Raptor fans and fans of basketball, fans of sports in general. You will contradict yourself 20 times. You will go back on a word that you said 50 times because you believe what you're saying is correct and you realize what you're saying is incorrect. Why is that? Because you can see a vision and you believe. And unfortunately, the belief is what makes people do dumb things all the time. And belief in sports, of course. And saying that, I said, you know what? The Raptors should wait. Wait until the offseason. I said the trades that are here now will be there as well. And Masai said something that made me even agree with it even more. When the NBA champion is named, whatever team it is, whatever team is named as NBA champions, there's going to be a bunch of teams, maybe not 29, but most likely like 15 teams who believe they have a shot. They just need an additional piece, and that's it. Their luck didn't go that way, so they just need an additional guy that's going to help them. And who's the ultimate additional guy? It's OG Anunoby. So I think there's going to be I'll say 10 teams that are going to want OG. The thought process, if let's say the Bucks win, well, you need a guy who can guard Giannis. OG can guard Giannis. Boston Celtics win. OG can guard Jason Tatum. OG can guard Kawhi. Can guard Paul George. He can guard Kevin Durant. Of course, you need help to guard these guys. LeBron, let's the Lakers do the phenomenal and somehow win a title. You need someone to guard LeBron. There's always going to be this person needs to do this. You need to have that spectacular player who can do a bunch of things. Now, OG's price tag is going to go a little bit lower because I think the guy that everyone's going to be trying to gun for is Mikal Bridges because he's also on a very good contract. He's a guy who just scored 45 last game, and I think a lot of people at one point would have said OG was better than Mikal Bridges. I think that's hard to say now when Mikal Bridges is a better offensive player than OG. And that's because he has more of what everyone's saying nowadays, a bag. His offense is more fluid. He's just better at offense than OG is. So, in saying that, I would say that I would see OG's, what they can get for OG to be not as great, the Raptors. But I still think it's going to be there. And that's the whole point of what I'm saying, is that what's going to happen for the Raptors is that people are going to want OG. They're going to want him. He will be tradable. So you trade when that comes. Now, do I ultimately want to trade OG? Because everyone says you want an OG, you want an OG. My thought process, if Precious can be the wing guard or the wing defender that you're looking for, then you can have Precious as well. At the end of the day, OG's an elite defender. Elite. So is Matisse Thybulle. Arguably, Matisse Thybulle could be probably the best wing defender in the league. What is that doing for you? Draymond Green's a good defender. Klay Thompson's a good defender. Andre Iguodala, they're all good defenders. So it helped. The team defense was good. What's good with the Raptors, they have a good team defense too. And if our ultimate goal is to win a title, there's so much other things that need to happen to win a title. We're not going to dive on that today. All I'm saying is that OG's offers will be there. Now, when it comes to Gary, I think the Raptors want to keep him. I think when the season picks back up, after this half, I think Gary's coming off the bench, which I think is fine. And when he comes off the bench, he's going to be the offensive generator for the bench unit. I think he can still be a guy who finishes games because of what he can do offensively. He has a pretty good mid-range. 3-point shooter, he's pretty good at. Offensively, Gary's good. And I think when you need a bucket, I love you, Pascal. I think you always need a guy like Gary to get you the bucket. So unless Pascal's mid-range becomes, honestly, at the point where it's 50%, if left wide open, of course. If left wide open, contested, you're hoping 50%, like at the DeMar, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, that type. That's what you're hoping for. So, but I think Gary's gonna bring some value. I think they want to keep him. I think the Raptors made this Pirtle move with the thought process that you have sign and trade options. You can trade OG. You can still keep Gary and still keep Fred. Now, to do all that, there's a lot of money that you gotta figure out. But I ultimately think that Masai did what he did because he knew he wanted to keep Gary and Fred, and he has decided, him and Bobby, that unless OG has a spectacular second half, that he makes it undoubtable that he's the second to Pascal, or even the third to Pascal and Scotty, that your thought process that you trade OG. If OG's also unhappy, because we haven't even talked about that. If OG's unhappy, you do the same thing. Then you trade OG. Now everyone's like, oh, they could have done it now. They could. Why are you waiting? Why are you waiting? Who's to say the draft picks you would have got, and who's to say how good it was? Everyone's like, oh, someone offered 4 picks. Were they unprotected? We have no idea they're unprotected. Was there a young player to come with it? Because most likely for OG's contract, you would have to give us a young player, and then probably a vet that would do, right? Like if it was the Grizzlies, you would have to give us, and you just got Pirtle, so you want Xavier Tillman, so, and there's nobody there that you would really want, unless you got almost like 2 young guys who were like mid, or not mid, or like, but you get like Aldama, and you probably just get someone else, like just another young player, and then get their 4 draft picks. That's all you can do. Like, the Pelicans, if they were doing it, I don't think the Pelicans were giving you 4 draft picks. I'm not sure if they were doing that. They're probably giving you 2 or 3. You know, they're probably giving you 2 or 3. But Mikal Bridges and OG are going to be, like, changing the market. I think Gary, you either sign him or he's going, but I don't think he's a sign and trade. I think Fred is more of a sign and trade than anyone else. But if Fred goes to Orlando with a team that people are saying is interested in him, he's going for the money, and there's no need for a sign and trade. Miami had to do a sign and trade. It didn't have to, but it made it easier to do a sign and trade for their cap bugs. Almost did them a solid by doing it. Now, I'm not too sure if the Raptors are going to get that same solid from a team if they trade Fred VanVleet or if they trade Gary. Now, if you lose Fred, what are you replacing that with? If you're losing Gary, what do you, like, you're basically saying, we still don't care about shooting. We still are going to work on our internal development if we lose Gary and Fred. Those 2 are your best shooters. You don't lose them. If you lose the guy who, and I'll make a video about this. I love OG, but how much games has he played in the past few years? That conversation needs to start happening. I know we don't want to have it, but we got to have it. OG hasn't played that much games. Like, well, let's be honest. He gets hurt a lot. So he misses a lot of time. So this guy's unhappy because he's not getting a lot of, like, opportunity. And I still feel like when he had the opportunity last year, he didn't do anything with it. I think he had some opportunity this year. He didn't do anything with it. I think Fred did a lot more with it. And so did Scotty. So, I don't know. It's... You know, going down to this team, a lot of people wanted the Raptors to do a bunch of things. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. But let's move on to something else with the Raptors. I'm going to say the 3 things I would like to see. Before I get to the 3 things, I'll get to, like, my biggest thing. I woke up one day, guys, and I was saying to myself, like, I'm a little conflicted with the Raptors. What I'm conflicted about is what direction I want to see them go to. Not really direction. It's more of, man, this team is too good. Guys, look at the record. Look at their next few games. Look at the standings. Look at the other teams that are above them. This team is actually too good. They're too good to be, like, not in the play-in at least. They're too good not to be in the play-in, and that sucks. They're too good not to. Their next games are... The Pelicans one is going to be a hard one, but they have Detroit, who still competes against them. Cleveland, that could be a loss because the way the schedule is looking, like you face Detroit and Cleveland, it's not that far, but you go for like 12 p.m. to you play at 6 p.m. It doesn't something about that doesn't seem right, even though they get this kind of break time. Um, but you have then Chicago, which is a winnable game. You have two Washington games that are winnable. I know they're playing better, but then they go into through a streak of like Denver, LA, and Denver. But then you have like OKC, who probably by that time Shea is sitting down. Minnesota should be trying. I think Milwaukee, if it's a back to back and Milwaukee has a back to back, don't expect Milwaukee to play. But then you got Indiana, who's gonna tank at the time. Detroit, Washington, like no matter what, I just think this team is not bad enough to not be there. They're probably a 42 win team, most likely, which is probably gonna get you a play-in game. The goal is to get like the seventh seed or the eighth seed. If you get one of those two, then at least you have one game, like one game. And also with the play-in and why the Raptors are gonna make it, look at the other teams. I don't know what Chicago's doing. I know they're trying to win, but they didn't trade their vets. I think they may want to sign Vucevic back. I don't know what they're really doing, honestly. Washington's trying. That's one team that's trying. Atlanta's been mid, always been mid. Brooklyn is gonna fall off, but not gonna fall off to the point they're gonna lose a play-in. Because like, if Mikal Bridges is gonna score the way he's scoring, they still got like a good squad. Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, Claxton. You got Cam Thomas. You have Cam Johnson. Like they have a good team. Like they have a really good team. Guys who like it could be one of those like evened out teams. Everyone's scoring 18 points a game, and then you see the guy to close. So it'll be like Mikal or Cam. That's it. That's it. Mikal or Cam close the game. That's it. You already know who's gonna close the game. But you have guys who around them and play defense, play hard. So that team is good. So I don't see them falling off. But the teams below them, of course, the Detroit's. Like Detroit's not gonna do nothing. That's why this team is most likely gonna make it. But like I said, I was waking up thinking to myself, like, man, like, I really kind of wanted like a top 10 pick. Raptor fans, I really wanted a top 10 pick. I know it sucks. I kind of wanted it. I kind of want to see what we could have done. But if you make the playoffs or make the play-in, you don't get a top 10. You get a top 15. Yeah, and you will get a top 15. The chances of you guys climbing up again like you did last time is it's not gonna happen. Getting the actual lottery balls is good. Like it's good. You want that. So that's where I can see some of the frustrations for some of the guys is that like you kind of want it to be bad this year, because if you're bad this year, you will get a potential like really good player, because this draft is being spoken about as very good, where next year's draft isn't spoken about the same level. So it would have been nice to do it. That's what I wanted to see. So it sucks. But after not getting, they probably won't get a top 10 draft pick, and I really wanted that. And I hate kind of talking about the draft so much, but I really wanted a top 10 draft pick. I would have been nice to have. And that's my biggest thing. Like that's the one that I'm just like, man, this team's not gonna be bad, aren't they? They're gonna be like average. But I kinda want a top 10. You get a top 10, you trade OG, get some extra draft picks. You start doing more with what you have. You get the bench better, because once again the Raptors needed a center and a bench. So, and arguably they have a center for the next 3 years in Pirtle, because Pirtle's not trash. He's not trash at all. He's a solid center. He may not finish games, but you know what? If he plays 25 minutes and plays great defense, you're happy. You're honestly happy. A good defender. His on and offs are looking funny, because like, damn, this team's much better when he's on. So I don't know. I think it's something that could be good for the team. I like what I like getting Pirtle, to be honest. I didn't hate it. I think trading a 2024 draft pick that is 1 to 4 protected is perfectly fine. I don't see like certain teams. I can see Brooklyn's not going to be good unless they make a crazy draft pick next year. They won't be that great. Atlanta, you guys who like them, that's on you guys. Miami's always going to be a good team, but some teams just won't be like that. Charlotte may still be Charlotte. Detroit may be more competitive. Orlando's the one team that I'm like, yeah, that team may be a play-in or playoff team for sure, right? And once again, you just want to get in the dance. You just want to get in the dance. And people believe with KD gone, like there's no team, but there's definitely a team. Their names are the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks are the teams to beat. And honestly, like don't sleep on Philly. I think sometimes I feel with Philly, like if they can win some games without Joel, let's do that. Let that man rest for playoff time and let him just do his thing come playoff time. That's how I see it. Now, in saying that, my thing that I want to get to next, wanting the Raptors to be that is it's well, what can we say? I want to talk about the three things I want to see going for the rest of the season. The three things, not in like in any like number one is the most important, but I would say the number one thing I do want to see the Raptors team do is compete. I know I just said like I kind of want to be a top 10 team, but I mean compete. Even if we lose and compete, it's better because the thing that we saw throughout this whole season, in the beginning of the season especially, this team didn't compete. They didn't compete, and that's like the weird thing about it. This team never competed. Some games look like they just were like chilling. But then guess what? When are they competing? That third or fourth quarter, they're competing all of a sudden. Especially the fourth quarter, they're all of a sudden playing like defense. Like it's crazy the way they did it when it was like that. So I want to see them compete. That's my number one thing. I want to see all guys like we're gonna have an 8 to 9 man rotation. We go crazy with it. We just try. There's like a championship level DNA that is gone, and it's just I don't know where it is, but it's just gone. So that's what I would like to see. Compete, compete, compete. I need the Raptors to compete. I want to watch games and not see them down like 10, 15 points and having to compete and climb. I want to see all that. I'm hoping I do. You never know. So that's what I really want to see. I want them to like I said a part of it, but with compete like an unselfish brand of basketball, like Raptors basketball playing defense. I want to see them especially compete in the defensive end. Like I want to see this team like become the team that we all believed in. Like I said, they're too good not to do it. They're actually too good. They're too good. They have too much talent. And the whole league wanted Gary Trent, and the whole league wanted Fred, and the whole league wanted OG, and people were talking about Pascal. They have to compete. The Raptors have to compete. Now the second thing I want to see, and I should talk about Pascal's performance in the All Star. If I briefly talk about it, Pascal did really well. I thought he had one of the better Toronto Raptors All Star games in recent memory. So shout outs to him. Shout outs to Pascal. Had a lot of easy shots. He was like 1 point away from, Tatum at one point. I think Tatum had 13 and Pascal had 12, but Tatum definitely went on a hot streak. So it is what it is. Number two is Scotty's growth. I want to see Scotty just become more confident in his shot, more confident as a playmaker, more confident as a potentially number two guy, number 2, 3 guy. Scotty's game, he is an all around player. He's going to average like next year 16, 7, and 7. He can do it. That's the type of game he plays. He is a potentially better version of Draymond. Offensively, I should say. Better version offensively than Draymond. But has the same Draymond skills. Defensive awareness, has a strong IQ. Of course, he does dumb things. Everyone does. Draymond did kick a guy in his balls, so let's not forget that. But that's what I would want to see from Scotty. Just a growth in his game, a growth in the talent, the awareness. People think that Scotty fell off this year, but not seeing the fact that his numbers are identical, but his assist numbers are up. Scotty's still having a good year. The problem is you guys. You guys are the problem with Scotty. It's your guys' fault. It's not Scotty. You guys put this like mantle on Scotty and wanted this guy to be like the next coming. And I said he's not gonna be. When I made my predictions, I said I had no expectation of Scotty Barnes. None. If he was the same player, I think he was successful. You want him to get smarter through the margins, but like what he showed us last year was like whoa, was whoa. He was a rookie of the year. We did not expect that. Not even close. Now everyone's saying Franz is better. Giddy is better. What's the guy from the Houston Rockets? I forgot his name, but he's better. All these guys are better. Not Jalen Green. No, I'm not talking about Jalen Green. No, we never say that. Come on. No, no. They should be. I always say they should revolve around the team, around the other guy, the other young fellow on the team. Who I'm gonna just Google it because I don't like forgetting people's names like this. And everyone thinks they're gonna get Wembenyama, which I don't know. Sengun. Oh my God, Sengun is just. I think he could be special. Honestly, I think he's like he has like a Jokic to me, and I like that in his game. I like that a lot. So I really mess with him. But yeah, like some of these guys are they're just not like you know Scotty's still top three in that draft. You can say you got Evan. You can say you got um, Cunningham. I love Franz too. I do like Franz. But come on, man. Scotty's that guy. And I'm going to say it. I could be wrong. I'm going to say it still. The third thing I want to see is selfishly an All NBA case for Pascal again. Let my guy get 3-time All NBA. Let's go. Let's go. 3-time All NBA Pascal Siakam. I feel like in the forward position, if he's labeled as a forward, I don't know who else is going to be going for it. I haven't done any I haven't wrote it down or anything, but of course Kevin Durant was going crazy the first half, but you really have to see the second half. Like if he's only going to play 10 out of the next 25 games or maybe 15, 15 will probably do right, but you have KD, of course LeBron, Paul George may make a case. Maybe Jaren Jackson Jr. may make a case. There's so much guys. Julius Randle has a case. But let the Raptors and Knicks have a similar record. At the end of the day, Pascal made it, and they were the sixth seed, and Jimmy Butler was the first, and he didn't make it. And Pascal's numbers are 25, 8, and 6. So, shout outs to him for doing that. So, in my mind, if Pascal can continue averaging that, there is an All NBA case. There's definitely an All NBA case, and I would like to see an All NBA case, but he may miss it based off team record, the way the team's playing, but they're going to stay 3 games below. You're not really going to see a team with a losing record have a guy. So that's something that I would keep a watch on. Something I'm watching for now. I want to see Pascal get it. Once again, I thought he did pretty well for the All-Star game. I think he was he didn't stand out or anything, but of course he stands out to me because Toronto team. But I thought he just did nice. I thought he was good. I thought the fact that all y'all are going to know who Pascal is because the man spoke in the halftime to introduce Burna Boy and Thames, he did that. He introduced them. So that's Pascal Siakam. He's African-born, motherland. That's what Giannis would say, and it was cool to see. It was really good to see. But I'm looking forward to this second half of the season. We're either gonna see them push for a playoff seed, because I think that they can potentially do it. If they go on a 10-game winning streak, yeah, they're gonna do it. They're going to be 6 seed. So we'll have to see. I didn't really talk about Pirtle, but I'll talk about him briefly. But let's see what he can do. The starting unit should be, Pirtle, Pascal, OG, Scotty, and Fred. Fred and a bunch of big guys. And the bench is easy. You go Gary, Precious, you go Thad, and then you go Boucher. And then, of course, you got to put Malachi Flynn there. It's 10 guys. That's 10 guy deep potentially, because I think Malachi is still a pretty good shooter, and I think if you have a Malachi being a disruptor with playing a little bit of a Fred role, just being open for shots, being a disruptor, that could be good for Malachi's confidence. I think I see it there. I can also see the Raptors potentially trying to get more Banton minutes. I don't know how that's going to work. He hasn't had the greatest season, but I can see that happening. But we'll have to wait and see. But tell me what you guys think. This is the Raptors podcast. Check out part 1 where I talked about the NBA. I didn't really talk about Russell Westbrook, but he got traded. He didn't traded. He got signed to the Clippers. That's good on them. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to start or not. It seems like he could start, but we'll have to wait and see. Ty Lue's pretty. I don't know. I'm not sure if he's going to want to start him. I'm not too sure. But that was it. Hopefully we'll talk more about Raptors. A lot of these guys are going to enjoy their time off, and hopefully everyone else does as well. You know, for all the Canadian people, you have Monday off if you work a certain type of job, and that's pretty good. So, shout out to you guys. I hope you guys like, hope you guys subscribe and comment below. We'll talk again soon. Peace.